Have you ever just stopped and asked yourself, what am I really made of? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty profound answer to that question. It comes from the Maharatnakuta Sutra, an ancient Buddhist text that just completely deconstructs reality as we know it. It's going to challenge us to look way beyond the obvious and ask, what are we really?
I mean, think about it for a second. The chair you're in right now, the floor under your feet, your own body, it all feels so solid, right? It feels permanent and absolutely real. But what if that feeling, what if it's just the surface layer of a much, much deeper truth? Well, this ancient text invites us to look a little closer.
So how does this text even begin to unpack that question? Well, instead of seeing a person as one solid thing, it breaks us down into a combination of 6 fundamental components. It calls them realms. And, think of it less like some abstract philosophy and more like a practical guide to taking apart what we think of as me.
And these 6 realms are meant to cover the whole shebang. It starts with the really tangible stuff, earth, which is all about solidity. Then there's water, which stands for cohesion, everything that flows and sticks together. Fire is our energy, our body heat, our metabolism. Wind, that's all motion, everything from the air in our lungs to the nerve impulses firing in our brain. Then you've got space, which represents the cavities and the emptiness within us. And finally, the big one, consciousness, the awareness that is actually experiencing all the other 5.
Okay, now here is where it gets really fascinating. The sutra explains that each of these 6 realms isn't just inside us. Nope, they exist both within us, as our own personal experience, and outside of us, as the world we see. It's like we are a tiny mirror of the entire universe.
Let's just take the earth realm for a second. The solidity of your bones, your teeth, your flesh, that's what's called your inner earth. But fundamentally, it has the exact same quality as the mountains and continents out there, the outer earth. The point the sutra's making is that there's no real ultimate separation. You are the microcosm, perfectly reflecting the macrocosm.
And this pattern just keeps going for all the other realms. The blood and sweat in your body, that's your inner ocean. The heat from your digestion, that's your own little personal sun. And your very breath is the inner wind, totally connected to the same natural forces that could create a hurricane. The takeaway here is huge. You aren't separate from the world. You are a temporary composition of it.
Okay, so if we're just a mashup of these elements, what does that even mean for our existence? This is where the sutra hits us with its most mind-bending insight. It's not about what things are. It's about how they appear and disappear.
So here's the crucial point. When your body was forming, the sutra argues that the solid bits and pieces making you up didn't travel from some other place to assemble inside you. They didn't have a starting point. Instead, when the conditions were right, they just arose.
And you guessed it, the reverse is also true. When the body eventually breaks down and that earth element dissolves, it doesn't pack its bags and move to the east, west, north, or south. It simply stops manifesting in that particular way. It doesn't go anywhere. Now that might sound a little weird, but the sutra gives us this perfect analogy to help us get it. Picture a flame burning oil in a lamp. When the oil is gone, the flame just vanishes. So, did the flame travel somewhere else? Of course not. The conditions that supported it ended, so its appearance ended. The text says the physical elements of our entire world work in exactly the same way.
Or, think about it like this. You stir salt into a glass of water, and the solid crystals disappear. Where did they go? They didn't pack up and leave the glass. Their form as solid salt just ceased to be, and it merged into a new state. This same logic of arising from no place and going to no place applies to all the physical realms, inside and outside of us. Okay, so that takes care of the physical world. But what about the observer? What about the me who's aware of all this stuff? That brings us to the 6th and final realm, consciousness. And as you might expect, the sutra says it follows the exact same logic.
So consciousness is defined here pretty simply. It's just the faculty of knowing that pops up depending on our senses. Your eye meets a color and bam, eye consciousness arises. Your ear hears a sound and there's ear consciousness. It's this constant flickering stream of awareness that stitches our reality together moment by moment by moment. And just like that flame or the dissolving salt, every single moment of consciousness, every thought, every perception, it arises because the conditions are right for it. And when those conditions change, it just ceases. It doesn't come from some big warehouse of thoughts, and it doesn't go into storage when it's over. It just appears and disappears. And when you put it all together,
the temporary nature of our bodies, our world, and even our own thoughts, it leads us to the sutra's most powerful metaphor for reality itself. It argues that everything we experience is constructed in pretty much the same way, as a dream.
Seriously, think about the last dream you can remember. While you were in it, it felt totally real, didn't it? You felt real emotions, real fear, real joy. But the second you woke up, you knew that the people, the places, that entire dream world, it all arose from nothing and it vanished back into nothing. The text is making a bold claim here. Our waking life works on the very same principle.
So what's the point of all this, right? Is seeing reality as a dream just some cool philosophical trick? Well, the sutra says no, not at all. This understanding is actually the key to completely transforming our entire experience of life.
I mean, think about it. When you really truly get that the things we cling to so tightly, our bodies, our possessions, even our strongest opinions and emotions, are as fleeting and insubstantial as dream stuff, well, their power over us starts to fade. You stop being controlled by them. And that insight, that's what the sutra says is the direct path to liberation, to freedom.
And this liberation happens through what the text calls the three gates. First is emptiness, truly seeing the dreamlike nature of everything. And that leads you right to the second gate, signlessness. That's when you're no longer fooled by the surface-level appearance of things. And finally, that brings you to wishlessness. Because when you know something is a dream, you naturally stop desperately craving it or clinging to it. All that anxiety just falls away.
So we'll leave you with this to chew on. If this ancient analysis is true, if the very fabric of your reality, from your own bones to your deepest thoughts, is just arising and ceasing moment by moment, exactly like a dream, how does that change the way you look at your worries, your goals, and your sense of self right here today? It's a pretty profound question to ask.